Hey, it's Ansley, and we've just started working with Rob Easter of Workhorse Rye and his new project, or his recent project, which is what we're focusing on to start with, which is his modern ancient whiskeys. And it's modern ancient because we're living in the 21st century, and there's a lot of things that we have like stainless steel fermentation tanks and controlled fermentation and so forth, which are very beneficial. But then, and so are the very old methods of hand distillation. And in this case, what he's focusing on is heirloom grains: corn, barley, rye, wheat. And this is what we did with Germain Robin. Okay, we found grapes that were way more flavorful than what they were using in cognac. Cognac now is Baco, whatever it is. It's a field station grape, which ripens evenly, which is important in the cognac climate, and gives you a good yield of sugar. So it makes a lot of cognac cheaper than other grapes might. And what they do is I'm about to say they do the same thing now with whiskey. They use this field corn, which basically has no flavor at all. It's what they use to feed hogs with. And it turns into whiskey, and you get this even ripening thing, and it's got a lot of starch when it's dried out, which converts into a lot of sugar. And so you can make it's cheaper to make. And what do you do to give it flavor? You just add you put it in a new oak. And that's my taste, is the same thing we did with selling Germain Robin against cognac. Why are you drinking that stuff that's got all this oak in it? Don't you notice it burning, go down the bottom of your throat? It doesn't have any sugar. Add it, it's had sugar to keep you from noticing that. No, I mean, look, here we're using Pinot Noir, and it tastes absolutely beautiful. So why do we want to add a bunch of oak? We don't. We just want to have some backdrop. And that's exactly what Rob Easter is doing with it. Not exactly, because his deal's a little more complex, because he's having to go to remote parts of the country and outside of the country to find these heirloom grains. And then he has to not only find them, but he has to make sure they're harvested correctly and that they're fermented well. And then he distills them, double distills them. And if you do everything like that right, you get this beautiful, pure, concentrated flavor of what the original grain was. And because it's heirloom, it means it hasn't been, what am I going to say, abandoned in favor of things that ripen more evenly or give you more corn or have more sugar in them. They were grown because they tasted good. And so a good process of making a spirit takes that ingredient and makes the best tasting spirit that is that ingredient that you possibly can. And that's what he's done. So we're very happy to have these things. So let me go to, this is his, whoops, wrong one. This is a old mash, he called it, blend of 50% Floriani, which is a red corn that's being grown by a farmer near Sacramento, and a rye, which is being grown nearby, the same guy, an old rye, old heirloom rye, and Sonora wheat, which is one of the oldest grains, apart from corn, that are being grown in the United States. He had to go to Mexico to find it now, but it's a soft wheat with, if you get this bottle, you'll see how much flavor it's got. Anyway, so 50% Floriani red corn, 25% rye, 25% Sonora wheat. Very carefully fermented, very carefully harvested. You grind each one of these corns differently to get the most out of them. Some of them coarse, some of them fine, some in between. And then he uses entirely used barrels. God bless him. This is barrel strength, 60%. So it's done nothing but sit in good used oak since it was made. And really, really good stuff has lasts, the flavors last a very long time in your mouth, okay? And you can feel them. It's like the heavier alcohols take a little bit longer to open up because the warmth of your mouth opens them up a little bit faster. The lighter alcohols show up right away. And this is an extraordinary product. Complex. That is so clean. Clean means it's very beautifully fermented and distilled. And it's so long. I mean, when you smell it, you take it in your nose, it just lasts and lasts and lasts. The same thing with the finish. This is like, I really don't have the words to describe it because I've never tasted whiskey like this. This is like whiskey taken to another level. This is amazing stuff.